we had a mod and a couple more people come and do a public event in St. John. It was Energy for Everyone. That event was a public event, and then after that we had 2 full days of workshops around the Energy East and what the pipeline meant. The context in St. John is quite different than would be in other cities because New Brunswick is urban land, and the urban zone is basically everything and everybody in that part of the world. And especially they control the media in very, very serious ways. It's only one newspaper, and so the only communication people get to know about things and whatever is happening is from the urban newspaper, and of course they promote the pipeline in a serious way. So we are really working against the grain. So for this event that we did with the national office, we thought, well, who's going to come? But they did, and we did a rally actually on one of those days, the day after the public event, and people showed, and we had amazing speakers, and it was energy for everyone, but it was a lot of energy on that event. The other thing that has happened is there were a group of 4 young people from different parts of Canada and the US who themselves organized to raise awareness, and then they bicycled from Cape Breton from Sydney, and they went to Ottawa. So one of the stops was in St. John, and they from one day to the next they decided that they would paint this canvas and bring it. So we went to a farmer's market, and they brought their to kind of initiate conversation. So we were asking people to dip their hands on paint and paint their feet, and they utilize a moment to engage them in conversation. We thought nobody's going to come by, or where people are going. Oh, on the contrary, it's interesting when you engage people one-to-one, when in a city that you think that is totally in fear, that the people really come and talk to you. And some of the people, we left this blank on the bottom because we wanted to ask people what they wanted to, how they oppose the pipeline and what do they think, what was important for them to work on this issue. And then this is just the start of the day. At the end, we have quite a few sentences there that completed that paragraph there. The most important thing that is happening for us now next is a tour. And I think, Andrew, you'll be talking more about the tour, so I'm not going to steal your speech. So we'll leave it at that. And just it's really important for us to hear from you people what at the end of the day, at the end of the workshop, we will break it first on 2 parts where we work together, and then at the end we have some ideas coming out from you, what you think would work to get this pipeline stopped.
I would like to know if your recent provincial election would have any ramifications for this.
It will, because when we first started doing the fracking activities and opposing shale gas exploration, we thought, well, maybe it would be a chance, but it did turn people around, and the provincial election did show that people are really thinking about the projects of this nature when it comes to climate change. And so that really opens more hope than before, that people are really more engaged, and that it opened the door for us to talk to people.
And your new premier is stopping fracking?
No, he's calling for a moratorium. And
okay.
That's the promise that he's given us.
And did he promise anything about energy needs?
Not yet, no. Everybody's quite, especially our city council is totally 100% supporting the pipeline.
So we'll be able to get into a bit more of this. So Letitia talked a little bit about the process for the workshop. So what we're going to do is we're going to first start kind of going from me through these guys. We're going to give you sort of a 101 on Energy East, sort of bringing up information on a regional basis, making sure we're all on the same page. And then we're going to go through the same round and tell you a little bit about the strategies that we're engaging in for the Energy East pipeline. And then what we want to do is have like 2 rounds of feedback discussion where you give us your feedback on the strategies we've proposed thus far, and then have a more open-ended discussion where we basically put out the question, what is it going to take to stop Energy East? So no holding back, no sort of like limitations, but just really sort of spitballing and really thinking through creatively, what do we think are the top strategies that are going to lead to a no to actually stopping this pipeline? So with that in mind, what I want to start with maybe some of you aren't familiar with this particular pipeline, or might have it confused with other pipelines. So bear with us. We're going to watch this. It's a very short video.
In 1974, the Watergate crisis was rocking America. Neil Young was rocking Canada. A natural gas pipeline was being built from Alberta to southern Ontario, and almost no one had heard about the Alberta tar sands. A lot has changed in the last 40 years. Climate change has become the greatest threat to life on Earth. The tar sands have expanded to the point they can be seen from space, and industry has plans to triple production. A higher rate of rare cancer has been found in downstream First Nations. Millions of hectares of old-growth forest and billions of liters of fresh water have already been destroyed. Now there is a desperate push to export tar sands oil. The biggest proposal of them all is TransCanada's
Sorry, folks. And then it stopped.
terminals in Quebec and Atlantic Canada. Energy East would drive climate pollution up when we all know it needs to go down. Filling the Energy East pipeline would allow a 40% increase in tar sands production. That is like doubling the number of cars in Ontario or restarting all the dirty old coal plants that took 15 years to close down. We can have a livable planet or tar sands expansion, not both. Energy East would carry diluted bitumen or dilbit, created by diluting the thick goopy bitumen from the tar sands with various toxic and explosive chemicals to make it thin enough to squeeze down a pipeline. Massive pipeline ruptures in Mayflower, Arkansas in 2012 and Kalamazoo, Michigan in 2010 show how impossible it is to clean up dilbit because it sinks in water and sticks to everything it touches. The Kalamazoo cleanup is entering its 5th year and has already cost more than $1 billion. That pipeline leaked 4 million liters over 14 hours before it was eventually shut off. Energy East would pump that much oil in 35 minutes. TransCanada only plans to build a new pipeline for part of the Energy East project. To save money, they plan to repurpose an up to 40-year-old natural gas pipeline to carry the dilbit between Alberta and Ontario. When that pipeline was built starting in 1974, thinner steel was used in remote areas because it was cheaper, and the consequences of a gas leak were considered much less serious than an oil leak. But not only is a rupture more likely in remote areas where the pipe is thinner, it could take a lot longer before the spill is noticed and the pumping is stopped. Industry brags that they have state-of-the-art technology for detecting leaks, but 80% of all the pipeline spills in the last 3 years were discovered by people before the pipeline companies even suspected they had a problem, including the spill in Kalamazoo, including the spill in Mayflower. In the last audit of their key safety management systems, TransCanada was found to be non-compliant in 4 out of 9 categories. In their sales pitch to the Obama administration, TransCanada claimed their Keystone XL pipeline would create 20,000 jobs. The U.S. State Department estimates the real figure to be as low as just 50 long-term jobs. Investing in the green economy generates 7 times as many jobs as projects like Energy East, while ensuring that future generations will still have a planet worth living on. We don't need to expand the tar sands. We don't need to export more oil. We don't need Energy East.
Okay, so that's a little animation that we did. We did it in English, and Ekiter has been sharing it in French. And sorry, folks, give me 2 seconds here. Last I checked, it was in around 27,000 views so far. We released it not that long ago. And it was actually pretty heartening. I had recently had a meeting with the federal environment critic for the Liberal Party, and he was mentioning that Liberal voters were actually emailing copies of the animation to them in their office. So it's actually gone pretty far. What I want to do now is just do.
Just one question.
Sure.
Is Energy East the same as 9 Line?
line 9, no.
Okay, that's fine.
So what I'm gonna do right now is give you a little bit of a 101 on Energy East, so hopefully address some of that, some of those questions about what this particular